Live from E-Radio WMCR Studios, it's Sports Talk Live, hosted by me, Brandon Buckner, here on E-Radio WMCR. So I woke up this morning and I was getting my daily fix of sports before my college classes started. And boy, I heard a major, big sports story about the NFL draft. Yes, the NFL draft was last weekend, and we had some prospective young players go to their assigned teams. Like case in point, first round of the draft, Trevor Lawrence goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. At number 3, Trey Lance goes to the San Francisco 49ers. It was just one of those NFL quick hits that you thought that Trevor Lawrence might go to the Jets at number 2, but Zach Wilson actually wound up going to the Jets at number 2. All 3 quarterbacks are really good quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, all 3 guys are just special quarterbacks. And I do believe that they'll fit in with their new prospective teams. Now, my thing is this. The Jaguars getting Trevor Lawrence. Are they going to be even good next year? Only time will tell. I mean, they have Blake Bortles. They had Gardner Minshew last year. Gardner Minshew didn't live up to his potential in Jacksonville, and now he's gone. So now Trevor Lawrence is stepping up to the plate, just like Jimmy G. I mean, Trey Lance is with San Francisco. Who's going to get to start week 1 of the 2021 NFL season come August, September? We don't know. Only time will tell. And this is only the NFL draft. So anything can happen between now and training camp and between the preseason and what people are actually going to see from these young rookies. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen between these young rookies. These young rookies have lived their dream of one day being in the NFL, and they're living it. They're absolutely living it. So it's going to be very good to see them play this fall with their prospective new teams. I can't wait to see what's in store for these young guys. So another story I heard, Alejandro Villanueva is staying in the NFC North and has switched sides of the most heated rivalry of the last 2 decades. That only is enough to turn friend into foe. But for Villanueva, he's already done the opposite with Lamar Jackson by joining the Ravens. Judging by his responses Wednesday, the 2-time Pro Bowl offensive tackle can't wait to get started. The response quickly made its way to Twitter, where Jackson responded in kind. Jackson isn't just a thrilling talent either. Thanks to his game-altering mobility and Baltimore's current construction, the Ravens had led the NFL in rushing in each of the last 2 seasons. This means Villanueva is walking into an offensive situation that differs pretty significantly from the one he inhabited in Pittsburgh. Instead of knowing he'll likely have to protect Ben Roethlisberger roughly 40 or more times, he can count on Baltimore's ground-based prowls to provide him some relief and pass blocking and offer an opportunity to unleash his aggression in the run game. That has Villanueva excited and also a bit relieved, knowing he won't have to be tested quite as many times by the fearsome pass rushers in the AFC North, namely one in Cleveland. Clearly, those in Pittsburgh weren't entirely content with the Steelers' offensive shift, as it became clear the Steelers lacked punch on the ground and the blocking effectiveness to manufacture it in 2020. Pittsburgh's disproportionate offense ended up forcing Roethlisberger to attempt 40 or more passes in all but 3 games from week 6 through 16 of last season. That type of lopsided offense left the Steelers without the balance necessary to win games late in the season, contributing significantly to the Steelers' 5 losses in their final 6 games, including a 48-37 loss to the Browns in their wild card meeting. Jackson, meanwhile, attempted 30 or more passes just twice in all of 2020. The Ravens reached the divisional round a weekend of football that eliminated Steelers watched from home. With this in mind, Villanueva is happy with how things turned out for him. Now it's up to the Ravens to prove he made the right move. So yeah, Villanueva, I don't know. I really didn't know that he was a Army vet. So before he came to the NFL, he actually trained in the Army. He was a soldier. He was an Army vet, and he's bringing some Army experience to the Ravens. He played a couple of years with the Steelers. Technically, it didn't work out for him. He tried to block for Big Ben. Big Ben got injured a couple of seasons ago, came back, but it just wasn't enough for him. He needs to be blocking for a running quarterback, a young quarterback in Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson, he can show this kid the ropes. With Lamar Jackson's speed, athleticism, his running attack, his ground attack, Lamar Jackson won't need all that much protection. So Villanueva, he could probably rest for games down the stretch if the Ravens do in fact make the playoffs again next season, which I do believe they will. Here's the thing. With the Ravens being the powerhouse of the AFC North, and with the Bengals, possibly getting Joe Burrow back after that leg contusion he suffered in the hands of Washington football team back in November, it will be quite willing to see what's going to happen with the Ravens this year in terms of blocking and offensive protection, offensive prowess, the receiving game, the running game, the quarterback game, the core receiving core. And that's going to be one of those things where I'll get to see and I'll get to speculate, okay, what's going to happen? And as sports fans, we all get to see that. So that's going to be one of those Achilles heels that the Pittsburgh really going to miss from Villanueva, his blocking and his Army athleticism, his prowess. And, I'm not saying that they won't find another guy like Villanueva. I mean, the Steelers are a pretty talented team, but in their fact that they don't, the Steelers might be in some trouble next year. That's all I'm saying. But hey, Villanueva, I wish you the best of luck with the Ravens. I'm sure you're going to do well with your new team. So congratulations. Moving on here. So Casey Hayward has found a new home, and he didn't even need to leave the AFC West to do so. Hayward has signed with the Las Vegas Raiders, the team announced Tuesday. Drafted in the second round of the 2012 NFL Draft by the Packers, Hayward spent the last 5 seasons in Southern California with the Chargers, where he became a Pro Bowler in 16 and 17. Hayward played in every regular season game for the Chargers from 16 until 19, before missing 2 contests last season. His final with Los Angeles. Hayward's performance dropped significantly when viewing it through a Pro Football Focus lens. After posting a grade of at least 75.7 and a coverage grade of at least 74.5 in each season from 14 to 19, the 31-year-old corner finished with marks of 59.5 in both categories in 2020. Los Angeles released him in March, just before the start of free agency, in a move that could have been seen as motivated by both money and performance. The Chargers followed suit by drafting Hayward's replacement, Florida State's Asante Samuel Jr., in the second round Friday. If you ask the Raiders, they'll tell you they just landed a Pro Bowl corner, and factually that's correct. He just hasn't been a Pro Bowl corner by definition since 2017. Las Vegas, though, is pushing his addition as major, with his social team tweeting, "You want him? We got him." The account followed it up with some emojis to fit their opinion of their new pickup. At his best, Hayward is a highly effective corner. It's just fair to wonder if at 31 he still has it in him. He won't be counted on to be the Raiders' top corner, joining a secondary that includes Trayvon Mullen, 2020 first-rounder, Damon Arnett, and veteran Rasul Douglas. Elsewhere in the team's defensive backfield, the Raiders are releasing safety Jeff Heath on Wednesday. Hayward can bring valuable experience to a unit that needs to be better in 2021 and make a few plays along the way. If anything, it's a low-risk addition for the Raiders. Yeah, so Casey Hayward playing for his second or third team. He played with the Chargers. He was drafted by the Packers. And wow, anybody that gets drafted by the Packers is going to play alongside Aaron Rodgers. So he had it good with Green Bay in 2012. Casey Hayward, he's a great cornerback. He was really good. I mean, I've seen him play with the Chargers. I've seen him play with the Packers. I've even seen him play with, some other teams that he played with in his career. And he's played pretty good. He's one of those decent cornerbacks that you want on your team to block for you or either pick up a ball or intercept a ball or just defend someone. And I think he'll shine through in Oakland's defense because let's face it, the Raiders need defense. The Raiders were on the verge of making the playoffs last year with Derek Carr. They couldn't do it. They missed the playoffs for the third time in Derek Carr's career. But you can see the maturity level of Casey Hayward and how he will probably come in to be a veteran to some of these young guys with the Raiders. So it's going to be interesting to see him with his new team. And yes, he is staying in the AFC West. He left Los Angeles Chargers this past offseason to join another team in the AFC West, and that was the Oakland Raiders. So congratulations, Mr. Hayward, on your new team. Best of luck to you, sir. So moving on here. So Jeff Driscoll's stint with the Broncos is finished. Denver announced Monday it has released a backup quarterback. Driscoll appeared in 3 games with the Broncos in 2020 following an injury to starter Drew Lock, completing 54.7% of his passes for 432 yards and a 3-2 touchdown-interception ratio. Driscoll started just 1 game, a 28-10 loss to Tampa Bay, but his best moment was his first, when Driscoll nearly led the Broncos to a probable comeback against Pittsburgh in the same game in which Locke exited due to injury. Driscoll was benched for fellow backup Brett Rippon during Denver's Monday night win over the New York Jets. It was the last game action he'd see with the Broncos. At 28 years old, Driscoll enters a free agent market that doesn't guarantee he'll latch on with another team. The weeks and months ahead will be left to determine the former Florida and Louisiana Tech passer's future. The Broncos also signed tight end Eric Schubert. He caught 3 passes for the Jaguars last year, his 4th in the league. So yeah, I mean, Jeff Driscoll, listen, the guy was okay. But if you're not good, you're not going to stay with your team. You're not going to stay with the team that drafted you or that wanted to give you a chance. Jeff Driscoll had 3, 4, 5 chances in Denver. He was, just drafted in, 17, 18, 19? And he played, 2 years with Denver? If no one sees potential or the fact that you have made some kind of improvement with your game, then you're not going to stay with the team that drafted you. It happens in sports all the time. Nobody stays with their original team all the time. Look at Tom Brady. Look at Brett Favre. I mean, Brett Favre switched teams 3, 4, 5 times. Brett Favre played with the Packers. He played with the Falcons when he first came in. He only played 1 game with the Falcons. So he played with the Falcons, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Jets. So, yeah, Brett Favre, he didn't stay long with – he played years with the Packers. But he came out of retirement to team up with the Jets, and then he played with the Vikings to end his career. And, well, we all know how that ended. That ended in a scary injury to him back in 2009 when the Vikings and Saints played in the playoffs. But Jeff Driscoll, he's a young kid. He'll find work. He'll probably go to a team that really needs a quarterback. I don't know who that will be, but he'll find some work. So, Driscoll, he didn't play that bad last year with Denver. Like I read, he actually almost had a comeback of the Steelers. And the Steelers were undefeated last year. So up until, they played us. But it's a crazy thing, and it happens in sports all the time. So it's nothing new for me to hear that a quarterback has been released. So moving on here. So LeBron James is expected to miss back-to-back games against the LA Clippers and Portland Trailblazers this week as he rests his injured right ankle. Discomfort persisted for James over the weekend when he played 2 games following a 6-week absence. He exited Sunday's loss to the Toronto Raptors and did not play in Monday night's pivotal 93-89 victory against the Denver Nuggets. James is averaging 25.0 points, 7.9 rebounds, and 7.8 assists, while shooting 51.3% this season for the Lakers, who after Monday's win sit in 5th place in the Western Conference, with narrow leads over Dallas Mavericks and Portland Trailblazers. Injuries to James and fellow All-Star big man Anthony Davis have stalled the Lakers after winning the 2020 NBA championship. James has played in just 43 games this season, with Davis appearing in even fewer, 29. A slide into the play-in tournament will put the Lakers in the unprecedented situation of a defending champion being forced to win 1 of 2 games in order to make the playoffs. Assuming they finish 7th or 8th, with or without James, the Lakers' path to the playoffs gets no easier this week, with crucial Western Conference games against the Clippers, Blazers, and you guessed it, the Phoenix Suns. So yeah, LeBron James, I fear for the guy, man. I mean, LeBron James, he's up there in age. He's not that old. He's like maybe in his late 30s, possibly inching to 40. But LeBron James, every NBA player gotta know when you get a certain age or at a certain level where your body just isn't really working for you anymore, you gotta sit down. You gotta take a breather. You gotta say, listen, I'm gonna rest this game. I'm gonna sit out this game because I feel a lot of discomfort in my legs, in my body, and how I'm preparing myself for a trajectory finish to the season. Now the Lakers are on potential prime to make the playoffs, but to see who they're going to play, and right now you don't want to play the Clippers or the Blazers because they rolling. You don't even want to play the Phoenix Suns. All three of those teams are rolling. You probably even want to play the Utah Jazz, which the Jazz have been a little down since they were first in the NBA and wins. But the Lakers, they'll get it right. I mean, listen, half those players on our Lakers team is up there, and well, yeah, they might have a couple rookies on that team, but the Lakers are an old team. They're not like the new age teams like you see today. So they're pretty up there in age. So you know anything can happen between now and the playoffs. But I think LeBron, I think he'll get back to where he needs to be for the playoffs. Now, playoff LeBron does a great, stupendous job in the playoffs. Regular season LeBron James, well, people say he struggles, but when he gets to that playoffs, he puts on the show. So I'm not too much worried about LeBron. When he gets back, he's going to be better than ever. Moving on. So another injury in the NBA, as the Sacramento Kings rookie guard Tyrese Halliburton will likely miss the rest of the season despite an MRI revealing no structural damage to his left knee. The team announced Tuesday. The team said no surgery was required on the injury, and he is expected to make a full recovery and participate in normal off-season training. Bringing the ball up the court in the third quarter of Sunday's game versus Dallas, Halliburton attempted a behind-the-back crossover dribble, and his knee appeared to give way as his weight shifted with the move. He was helped off the court and immediately headed to the locker room, ending his night with 11 points and 5 assists in 23 minutes. The two-time Rookie of the Month has averaged 13 points and 5.3 assists, shooting 47.2%, including 40.9% from long range and 30.2 minutes of action. Halliburton, he's a great player. I watched him play against the Wizards, my team. And he's a rookie. He's a young guy. So it's hard for me to watch these young guys go down. Like Denny Avdia from the Wizards, he went down against the Warriors a week ago, and he's going to miss the regular season with the hairline fracture. But it's not going to require any surgery, thank God. But it was a bad injury to one of the young, promising rookies in the NBA. Him and Tyrese Halliburton. They're young, promising rookies in the NBA. And so are the other rookies that have come in and had injuries like that. So it's hard for me to see that. But this is sports. You're going to get injured, whether this is your first year in the NBA, your second year in the NBA, or your last year in the NBA. You're going to get injuries. Now, you might not miss the season, but you might miss a couple of games, and you might be on the bench saying, hey, you know what? I need to help my team. I need to be a cheerleader for my team, and whatever I can do to help my team win, despite being on the bench in street clothes and not playing for the rest of the season. So moving on. So another story about LeBron James. So LeBron James doesn't like the NBA's new postseason format, which includes a play-in tournament for the number 7 and 8 seeds. As it works, only the top 6 seeds are guaranteed a playoff spot. The 7th through 8th seeds have to win a play-in series to get in, and the 9th through 10th seeds have to win 2 series. LeBron's group echoes that of Luka Doncic and Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban, both of whom have been recently critical of the new play-in format. Not coincidentally, the Mavericks and Lakers are both in danger of having to play their way into the playoffs through the play-in tournament. Obviously, they're not going to think it's fair that a team that played all season and in a playoff spot would then have to get through an additional potential 3-game series. But here's the deal. Things change, and this change, like Major League Baseball's wildcard postseason expansion, is in the best interest of the NBA and its players. Keeping more teams in the hunt for a playoff in spot discourages tanking, and the play-in series themselves are an additional revenue stream that will ultimately flow into players and teams' pockets. When these guys start accepting less money, then they can moan about how that money is generated. Also, is LeBron really going to play the equity card just because the new postseason system might not work in his favor this year? The guy played in the Eastern Conference for 15 years. Did he really travel the most equitable path to his 8 straight finals berths? Go to Chris Paul or Damian Lillard about how fair the traditional two-conference setup is. LeBron has had the advantage of basically not even having to show up until the second round of playoffs. If then, for the majority of his postseason career. Now, we're supposed to cry for the man because he suddenly has to lead his team to a top 6 seed? If anything, he should direct his frustrations at his teammates who allowed the Lakers to slip into this precarious position, tied in the loss column with number 7 Portland and LeBron's extended absence. For years, the NBA playoffs have avoided relatively mediocrity. Basically, every team with a functional heartbeat gets in. Now, that's not true. The Mavericks, Lakers, and Blazers are all good teams, and they're fighting to win every game in the past. It will be nothing but a bunch of seed shuffling and rest. The difference between the 6 and 7 seed wasn't punitive enough to highly prioritize seeding. Now it is. Each seed you fall down to, 10, has legitimate consequences. This lends an already largely irrelevant regular season at least a modicum of intrigue down the stretch. At the end of the day, this is about entertainment. This is about engaging as many fans as possible. That's why these guys make hundreds of millions of dollars. It's about a product. The play-in tournament should be adopted permanently. Frankly, the revamping shouldn't stop there. The NBA should be looking hard at its entire product right now. The postseason structure still isn't entirely equitable. People say conference imbalance runs in cycles, but what sense does that make? So it's been tougher to go through the West for decades, but when the pendulum shifts, it ever does again, to East being the tougher conference somehow, that'll be better. It's still unfair. It still eliminates the opportunity for a lot of really exciting playoff series that under the current format simply can't happen. We never saw Kobe Bryant and LeBron play in a playoff series. That's somehow good for the NBA product. No, it's not. Well, we're at it. There are the 5-minute reviews inside the last minute, 2 minutes. The final minutes of NBA games are dreadful. There is no argument to the contrary. All the drama is zapped up in reviews and fouls and teammates, and a little bit of basketball mixed in between. It's truly awful. Heck, even when you're winning, you're incentivized to foul these days. Up 3, just hack, and the fans can watch a couple meaningless free throws instead of a potential game-trying three-pointer. Is that what fills the seats? Is that what sells TV contracts? No. You know what does look good on a marquee, a potential Steph Curry with LeBron James playing matchup, and that's on the table. Or we could see Damian Lillard versus Curry in a March Madness type win-or-go-home game. This is what the people will gather in arenas and sports bars and living rooms to watch. If LeBron doesn't want to play in those games, there's a very simple solution. Don't put yourself in position to have. Win more games, because this isn't about equity. The schedule and conference imbalance is already highly inequitable. And again, LeBron was on the softer side of that imbalance for years. Now, a little bit of that bill is coming due. It's harder in the West. It's harder with this play-in tournament. And in this case, the harder is what makes it better. So, LeBron shouldn't be crying about a play-in tournament. LeBron, you were the king of the NBA Eastern Conference for 15 years, bro. And now you're in the West and you're crying? Dude, you just won an NBA Finals this past, June 2020. So don't cry to the NBA media. Don't cry to the commissioner. Don't cry to Commissioner, Adam Silver, saying, hey, I don't like this. I don't like this NBA format. I don't like this NBA tournament. Dude, it's not your call to make, okay? If people want to have play-in tournaments, they can have them. I mean, simple as that. Simple's okay. But you know what, LeBron? If you're going to cry about it, dude, just don't show up in the playoffs. Just don't play in the playoffs. Just have your team lose and don't show up. But if you do that, you're not a good teammate, bro. I'm just saying, man, you're not going to be a good teammate if you just don't show up for your team and help your team win. Because teamwork makes the dream work. And if you're not a team player, then who are you? So that's all I got to say about this. So moving on. Golden State Warriors guard Steph Curry continues to rewrite the NBA's history books. And believe it or not, there are still some shooting records that he hasn't broken. He checked another one off the list on Tuesday night, though, as he became the fastest player to hit 300 three-pointers in a single season in their game against the New Orleans Pelicans. It took Curry just 58 games to hit 300 on the season. In addition to that mark, Curry also joined Ray Allen, 2009-73, as the only player in NBA history to hit 2,800 career three-pointers at this point. It's only a matter of time until Curry passes Allen to become the NBA's all-time leader in made three-pointers. The two-time MVP has been an absolute tear this season, and he has almost single-handedly willed the Warriors into a playoff picture in the Western Conference. In the process, he has inspired his teammates and struck fear into his opponents. Warriors forward Juan Toscano Anderson used the Mike Tyson analogy to explain what it's like to be on the same side as the best shooter in the game. Curry has put on the show this season, and he has proved fans with a plethora of memorable moments. He has turned an otherwise middling Warriors team into must-watch TV on a nightly basis since he has basically been on fire. NBA Jam style since the start of the season. It's fair to wonder how long Curry can continue on this current pace of production. But so far, he's shown no signs of slowing down. Yeah, so Steph Curry, man, I mean, listen, the dude is a gift to the NBA gods. He's an NBA god to the world. Say what you want about Steph Curry, man. He is a great, great three-point shooter. His brother's great. And the fact, Steph Curry might be better than Seth. Steph Curry might be even better than Ray Allen. I mean, if I put two and two together, if you put Ray Allen together with Stephen Curry, they'll probably be the same player, but just have different shooting touches and shooting styles. And that is great. That is great for an NBA business and NBA world to experience. Young guys, young college, young high school students, young high school guys who want to marvel around Steph Curry and Ray Allen. You guys are seeing this firsthand. So you guys might be in high school, early college, some still in elementary school, and you're playing on the playground and you want to be the best. Hey, I was that kid in elementary school and high school, want to be Dwayne Wade, Bradley Beal, John Wall, Kevin Arenas, Ray Allen. But I was never that good in basketball. I had my defense. I could score. You know, it just took me some time, but now I'm doing better. I mean, you know, by me hosting the show, you know, I still play ball every now and then. And who knows, maybe I might play ball again one day. So, hey, congratulations, Steph Curry, on your true remarkable season. Wow, Curry is he's great. He's a great three-point shooter. When Curry was drafted in 09, I saw potential in this kid right away. You know, I was a kid myself. I was a teenager. But I saw potential in this guy. And I said, you know what, Steph Curry, he's going to be a great three-point shooter. You mark my words. He might be struggling now. Like, Steph Curry, it's like he came in 09 and he started making three-pointers right off the bat. Like, right off the bat, he started making three-pointers. And that's what I like to see out of a kid just coming in the NBA. I like to see that. So, Bradley Beal has said on numerous occasions this season that he is more concerned with the Wizards winning games and making the playoffs than winning the scoring title. Lately, the numbers have backed that up. As from March 27th through May 3rd, they went 14-2 in games he played. Despite his scoring average in those games dropping to 39.1, while Stephen Curry surged and passed him on the leaderboard. Beal's scoring has dipped from Superman levels to Batman levels. Still good, but not invincible. If he really wanted to win the scoring title at all costs, he could have chucked up more shots, perhaps at the expense of his team's overall performance. But that isn't what he wants to do. Beal, though, helped his cause on Wednesday night with 42 points against the Bronx, outbatting a loss. He entered the day just 0.6 points behind Curry, but that meant he needed to score 65 in order to pass him in one night. He fell short of that, not surprisingly, but did cut into the lead a bit. With an average of 31.14 points for the season. Now Beal is 0.39 behind Curry. It isn't going to be easy to close the gap with only 6 games remaining, and Curry in an absolute tear. Over his last 17 games, Curry is averaging 37.1 points. Beal has averaged 29.9 points over the same stretch. If Beal doesn't catch up to Curry and pass him, he's going to end his season with the unfortunate distinction. He was in the scoring lead for 103 days from January 6 to April 18. Only one player in NBA history has led the league in scoring for longer without winning a scoring title at the end of that season. That would be the answer, Mr. Allen Iverson, who was in the league for 127 days back in the 1999-2000 season before Shaquille O'Neal pushed ahead. Here was a list Beal could join, which includes some great company. 1999-2000, Allen Iverson, 127 days. Shaquille O'Neal won that one. 2020-21, Bradley Beal, 103 days. Stephen Curry leads. 2011-12, Kobe Bryant, 102 days. Kevin Durant owned, and he won. 1951-52, George McCain, 97 days. Paula Reason won. 06-07, Carmelo Anthony, 93 days. Kobe Bryant won. The late, great Kobe Bryant. Miss you, Black Mamba. And, of course, GG. Bryant lost the title to Durant in 2012 by just 1/10 of a point. That's about as crushing a loss as one could get in the scoring race. Bill, though, doesn't seem to be paying it too much attention. He says he would like to win it and would help his career resume tremendously, especially when it comes to this Hall of Fame chances. But he sees it as secondary to the Wizards' team results. Sure, but maybe there's a way he can have it all. Get the scoring title and push the Wizards into the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, look, Bradley Beal is doing a fabulous job with the Wizards this year. Him and Russell Westbrook have put up MVP-type numbers. MVP-type numbers. I've said it so many times. I said it so many times on this show. MVP-type numbers. And Russell Westbrook just passed Oscar Robertson for the assist lead a couple games ago against the Indiana Pacers. And if Bradley Beal were to beat Steph Curry for the scoring title, it will be two Washington Wizards that have proved superhero-type numbers this past season. And I, as a Wizards fan, are going to love it, man. I'm already loving that Russell Westbrook passed Oscar Robertson, the great Oscar Robertson. I mean, because Oscar Robertson, hey, he was a great NBA player. I never saw him play, but I heard he was good. So, the 2021 NFL draft is over, but that doesn't mean the Washington football team is done adding talent to their roster. The football team announced on Wednesday they had agreed to terms with a pair of veteran free agents, a tight end Deanne Yoder and cornerback Lyndon Stevens. The 26-year-old Yoder is entering his fourth season in the NFL after going undrafted out of Western Kentucky. Yoder signed with New Orleans as an undrafted free agent. He was cut at the end of training camp. Yoder then signed with Kansas City's practice squad on October 4th, 2018. He was promoted to the active roster and appeared in 3 games that season. Yoder played in a total of 9 games for the Chiefs. He caught 7 passes for 36 yards. He comes to Washington with a chance to compete for a roster spot as backup starter Logan Thomas. Washington drafted Boise State tight end John Bates in the 4th round of the draft. Yoder joins Thomas, Bates, Samus Reyes, Marcus Ball, and Tamara Hemingway as tight ends on Washington's roster. Stevens entered the league coincidentally through enough in 2018 as an undrafted free agent with the New Orleans Saints. He has spent time with the Saints, Broncos, Rams, Dolphins, and 2 stints with the Seahawks. He played 13 games for Seattle in 2020. The 6'0", 193-pound Stevens played collegiately at Cincinnati. Yeah, so the Washington football team, man, they're stacked up. They are stacked up. Stacking them up and piling them up. Piling up tight ends to help Logan Thomas out. And let me tell you something. The Washington football team, they're going to be the talk of the NFC East. Everybody want to talk about how good Dallas is, how good the Giants are, how good the Eagles will be. No, nobody is going to want to mess with the Washington football team this year. We already lost Alex Smith, but we gained another veteran in Fitzmagic, Ryan Fitzpatrick. If he could only shave the beard, he'll look absolutely stupendous, man. But he got to shave that beard. The beard is making him look older than he already is. So, anyway, the tight ends picking up. And Marcus Ball, his father played with the Washington football team, Sammy Ball. So, like father, like son, I guess. Moving on. So, some reports are swirling around that Aaron Rodgers wants out of Green Bay. Though the Packers front office says that will never happen, former 49ers and Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman had one suggestion for a landing spot for Rodgers. Ashburn, Virginia, and Ron Rivera's year plus since being named Washington's head coach. He's made tremendous progress building a roster ready to compete for years to come. Washington has several young pieces on both sides of the ball, including the stacked defensive line Sherman mentioned that features Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Jonathan Allen, and Darion Payne. On offense, Washington entered the offseason already having a standout wideout, Terry McLaurin, and a rising star and winning back Antonio Gibson. And with the offseason additions of Curtis Samuel, Adam Humphries, and De'Ami Brown, the Burgundy and Gold's offense should only evaluate even more in 2021. One more thing that would appeal to Rodgers about Washington, and perhaps the most important of this equation, is that with Ryan Fitzpatrick only on a 1-year contract, Rivera's club doesn't have a young signal caller in place for the team's next franchise quarterback either. While Rodgers to DC might be a pipe dream for Washington fans, Sherman doesn't see the 3-time MVP leaving Green Bay. The future of Hall of Fame cornerback believes now the draft is over, it will be much harder for the Packers to move their star signal caller this offseason. Another level to the saga is that there have been rumors that Rodgers will consider sitting out the 2021 season if the Packers don't move him. Sherman doesn't buy those at all either. At this point, Sherman only sees two ways this fiasco in Green Bay can end that result, and Rodgers being happy. Yeah, so I mean, think about this: the world behind the man, and the fact of the matter is that Aaron Rodgers might have some, you know, might even have some correlation to it all. I mean, it's quite fabricating the fact that Aaron Rodgers was once, trying to, find himself in the world of, uh, you know, driving and doing the same things that Brett Favre had taught him when he was in Green Bay, when he was a rookie in Green Bay. So if you think about it, this is probably going to be the most fun that Aaron Rodgers could ever have in his career. And if you're thinking about the correlation, the drive of the game, and really just thinking about what he has to do left in his career, I mean, that's pretty much a hard pill to swallow with Green Bay. I mean, they drafted Jordan Love for the Green Bay Packers, and Aaron Rodgers felt disrespected. So Aaron Rodgers started the season just beating teams all over the place. I don't blame Aaron Rodgers. You bring a rookie in, you think he's better than you? Come on, man. You can't do that. You can't expect people not to forget what happened that day when you drafted a rookie to replace Aaron Rodgers in the starting lineup. So that is my show for today. Thank you for listening to Sports Talk Live, hosted by me, Brandon Buckner, here on E-Radio WMCR. I'll see you next time.